Hello, YouTube. I'm just setting up on Facebook. Okay. Oops. You should see all the wires and everything I've got here. Okay. Whoops. Okay, I'm just waiting for people to turn up on Facebook. Sorry, I'm just getting my notes set up here. Oh, got someone turning up. That's good. There we go. I'm all ready. Taylor Abaspor, and I've got Leanne Strawbin. You've been here before. Good afternoon. Hi, Leanne. Anyway, welcome back. Yesterday, I don't know if you were here yesterday at all. If not, doesn't matter. But I did 3 hours of lives because I stupidly forgot that yesterday was Tuesday, and I had my regularly scheduled lives starting at 4:30, and I forgot, and I did 90 minutes of lives, and I ended at 3:30, and then an hour later, I had to do another 90 minutes. If you've never done a live before, there are a lot of work on your voice box. So yeah, I was pretty hoarse last night after doing all that. Oh, I just do so many stupid things. And I just did something stupid with a client too. I thought we'd scheduled for today, and I saw the email that the person had sent a few days ago saying they couldn't make it. So they gave me tons of notice. And I thought, oh, they're just confirming. So that's why I'm here now. I got a canceled session, my fault. And so anyway, yeah, I'm just all over the place lately. It's Christmas, right? Yeah, I'll blame that. Okay, so my name's Lisa. I'm a parenting coach. If you go on the link, you'll see my free behavior board, my mini toddler courses, my big boot camp course, 3 to 12 years old, and my coaching sessions. All coaching is done on Zoom, so it can be anywhere in the world. So, okay, so parenting questions, if you have them, I'm here waiting to answer. I'll do the best I can. I can't answer everything, especially autism, and anything special needs or autism or crisis work, I don't discuss on lives. That would be just coaching. So, but other than that, I'll do my best. And I get mostly toddler questions. I specialize in teenagers, though. That's how I started my business, teen crisis work. So, but yeah, any age. If you can work with teenagers, you can discuss any age. Okay. Oh, good. I love teenagers. Okay. How to deal with a teen boy who keeps getting in trouble in school for defiance. I don't know why he's doing that. I have to figure that out. So here's what I need to know is what kind of parent you are. When did he start being trouble? Was he trouble before? What's going on at school? What's his social life like? Does he do drugs? Is he a partier? I need to know a whole bunch of different things. So sorry, I cannot possibly answer that that's coaching. I'd have to assess the whole situation and know how to move forward. But I'll give you a little hint. These are my top 3 tips for parenting teenagers. How old did you say he is? Oh, you didn't. Okay. Anyway, these are my top 3 tips for parenting teenagers. You listen to understand and show empathy. You don't listen to gather information to lecture with, or they will shut you out. If they want your advice, they'll ask for it. They already know it anyway. Number 2, parenting teenagers. Number 2, negotiate pretty much everything. Hey, I want you to put your dirty clothes in the hamper from now on. What do you want from me? It's not a blanket statement, but it's just an idea. Okay, and number 3 is don't sweat the small stuff. Save your energy for the big stuff. If you have it, you're going to need it, okay? So don't micromanage your teenager. If they do something stupid and it's not a big deal, this is what I would have said. I would have said, well, that was stupid. Do you want to hear what I did when I was your age? Like, it's okay to make mistakes. We all did it. So yeah, don't be too hard on them. You have to let a lot go with teenagers. You just have to. They're growing and learning. Defiance at school, no, I don't let that go, though, by the way. And also, if you were to hire me for coaching, I'm not trying to sell you on coaching. I'm just saying if you were to hire me, I wouldn't deal with that right away. That would be session 2 or 3. I got to figure out your parenting. I got to work on your relationship, your connection, how you communicate. That is the hardest thing for parents. They want to talk to their teenagers about what they're doing wrong. We don't do that. Yeah, it doesn't work. So anyway, you can try it. Okay, I have a 2 and 3-year-old and need advice on how to keep them seated and well-behaved in restaurants, please. Okay, are they seated and well-behaved at home? It starts and ends at home. So a lot of people have different expectations of children when you're out. So work on at home. Are they seated and well-behaved at home? Then they'll be seated and well-behaved when you're out. My kids are well-behaved at home, so they were well-behaved wherever we went. They don't have different personalities when they're out, except when they know you're going to let them get away with a lot more when you're out because you're too embarrassed to discipline. I was the exact same mother no matter where we were. They knew if they acted out when we were out or at home, it was the same mom. So I was very consistent. Okay, how to handle preteen boy who makes everything a competition. Of course, it leads to at least one upset kid. Um, you mean competition with the siblings, the other siblings? I'm assuming because one upset kid, everything's a competition. That's a right fighter. That's a sore loser. That's someone who it's kind of a bullying technique almost in a way. In other words, everything's a competition, so losing is a bad thing. So yeah, that's learned behavior. That's something they've picked up on. But if they're preteen, they might have picked it up at school at this point. But when they're little, they pick it up at home. So yeah, winning is the big deal in your household, is it? Here, my mom was really good at this actually, and we were like in our 50s and 60s, and my mom was still saying to us, she's since passed, but she was still saying, I was in my 50s, you're such a good sport. She was so proud of how my brother and I were such good sports because my mother never emphasized winning. She always emphasized how well you played and how fair you were and how polite you were. So she says everyone's a good winner. She hated a sore loser though. She goes, I'd rather lose and play well. Like she really put the emphasis on playing well and being nice. Okay. And winning was no big deal. She said, I wouldn't want to win just through luck. I'd rather lose and play well. So yeah, watch how they're watching you. Do you emphasize winning, trophies, stuff like that? Is that a big deal in your house? If so, that's where they're picking that up. Yeah, I won't go on about that. I've got another story, but I won't go on about it. Oh, I don't let people in on the video. The only reason I don't is about a year and a half ago, I started doing lives on TikTok, and I've been on there every day since. So anyway, I was doing this live, and I didn't know I was brand new on lives. So someone asked to join in, and then when they did, I've got a big audience. Like I've got a big audience over on TikTok, and I didn't think about it, and I didn't know what I was doing. So I let this person come in, and all they wanted to talk about was their business. They wanted my audience, and at that time, I had thousands of people in the live. And I got rid of them so fast when I said, look, we're here to discuss, I'm here to serve parents here. I'm not here to push your business. Anyway, so that's why ever since then, I've never let anyone in on my lives. I was just floored by that. And then they tried to ask me a parenting question. I said, too late, click. Got rid of them. I can't remember who it was now, but I did remember for quite some time after that. And I didn't even answer their parenting questions when they were asking. I was never popular on social media until a couple of years ago, and I just took off like crazy. I didn't know I had no idea that I was going to be targeted. Like when that happens, people want your audience, right? So yeah, I didn't know. No, I've never had much of an audience for people to want before. So yeah, I've learned a lot in the last 2 years. Okay, so parenting questions, where are they? Okay. Okay, I'll just wait. If not, I'll just move over to. I've only been on here for 8 minutes. I'll give it a bit more time, but I move over to. I do Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all in a row. On Tuesdays and Thursdays, they're a half hour each, and they're scheduled. Every other day, I just turn up when I can. I usually only do 20 minutes each, but Instagram is the busiest. It's not my biggest following, but it's the busiest one. Because on TikTok, I've been doing those for a year and a half, and most of them seen it all before us. But I've only been on Instagram for about 3 months now. So yeah, they're newer. And Facebook, I'm just kind of picking up on here. It's figuring it all out. I don't actually do all my stuff. I don't understand all this. I don't understand social media at all. It's a big mystery to me. I'm just yambling on because I've got no questions. Okay. I'll just yamble on about something here. I just talked a lot about praise versus pride. I discussed that a lot yesterday, and it's something I really want to go on about because parents think that you increase your children's self-esteem by praising them. Couldn't be farther from the truth. They're not listening to you. You know how you increase their self-esteem? You get them, you give them something to be proud of, or you play with them. Those two things can help. Nothing makes a child feel more special, more loved, and more wonderful than when you play with them in their world. Nothing. They just feel wonderful. And also, if they're really well behaved and they feel proud of themselves, give them, that's what discipline's all about. You discipline your children so they have self-discipline and pride in themselves. So praise versus pride. There's nothing like pride to make you feel good about yourself. Okay, I just happened to be browsing my Facebook and saw you were live. I have a 2-year-old who is such a picky eater, and yeah, you're not going to like my answer because I don't have a great one for that. And makes such a huge fuss when you sit her down for meals. She has her specific foods that she likes, but she seems reluctant to try anything new and will cry. Okay, so now how old? 2. Okay, I can't discuss food because I'm not a nutritionist or a doctor, but I can tell you what I did with my kids. So you see, I get around that. What I did was I hate cooking, by the way, but I made everything from scratch because I'm a fanatic with health food. And so anyway, I made everything from scratch. So you'd be amazed how I could sneak healthy stuff into anything. I knew what they liked. Like they would eat pretty much any cake or cookie. So I pureed everything and smashed it in there. You know what was funny is, so I really snuck in healthy stuff everywhere. So if you want to make everything from scratch, that's one way to go. I hate cooking, but I did it. And also, I never made them eat anything that they didn't like. So they had to try everything. But when they're little, that just takes time. But I would sneak in pureed spinach, pureed flax seeds, whatever. I would smash that up and put it into everything. And I baked everything from scratch, even bread. Bread was full of nutritional stuff. And so, yeah, if you want to make everything from scratch, nowadays they got like magic bullets and everything. We didn't have that back then. So anyway, it would have been so much nicer. But anyway, so yeah, you're just going to have to be patient. Also, cut back on the snacks. My kids usually only got, and it was all health food anyway. I'll give you another point in a minute. But I kind of just let them have fruit for snacks so that by the time they sat down for a meal, they actually were hungry. So think about that too. And milk is like liquid food. It's very filling. So be careful with too much milk in between meals. Also, what I did with my kids was, I'll tell you a funny story actually. My son was about 3 or something, and he went out for pizza for the very first time. And he came home and he said, Mom, their pizza sauce was really weird. It was red. Well, they're not pureeing spinach and putting it in there. My pizza sauce was brown. So they thought that other food was really weird. Anyway, what was I going to say? Shoot, I lost my train of thought. What I did with my kids. Oh, I can't remember now. That's frustrating. It was a good point too. Sugar. What the heck was it? Oh, I'm going to write that down. Just a sec. Food battles. It was such a good point too. I thought, oh, I almost forgot to say that. And then I forgot to say it. Anyway, I'll come back to it if I remember. Food eating. Food eating. What the heck else? What could I talk about? It was something completely different, but it was a really good point. Never mind. Irish twin toddlers hitting and biting, shoving each other, calm nose and removing does not seem to help. Okay, there's really not a lot you can do with toddlers who are crazy all over each other like that, aside from keeping them separate and making sure they each have the same toy. That's about it. Also, I'll tell you my top 5 tips for parenting toddlers. A couple of tips in there might actually help. Top 5 tips for parenting toddlers. Number 1 is you childproof your home so you never have to say no. Number 2 is you set up a toy rotation system so they're never bored. That might help you a little bit. They don't tend to get as bored with what they're doing and fight. They might, if you're always rotating their toys around, it's always like new stuff all the time. So that might help. Number 3 is when you want to connect with a toddler, you enter their world. You don't connect with a toddler at the cafe or the nail salon. That's your world. You go to the park and roll down the hill with them. They just start to look at you differently. Number 4 is you discipline children in their world. They're not about words, they're about actions. So discipline them with consistent corrective actions right in the moment. Number 5 is stop trying to figure them out. They're not figure-outable. They're brand new, fresh human beings. They may even go like this and smear poop on the wall. For some toddlers, that's completely normal, okay? Don't try and figure them out. They're just, I always call them crazy, but toddlers are just forming. They just haven't developed sanity yet. You know, all I can think about is that mealtime thing, right? What? It's such a good point, too. So I was smashing up and putting healthy stuff into all their food. It was another really good point. I can't remember. Can't remember. Never mind. I get like this. I'm going to get obsessed with it. Okay, I have just like I'm going to hit the see more button so I can see the whole question. Okay, I have a 13-year-old who is mean to her sister who's 10. So I guess they're both girls, maybe? Mean to her sister, both. Okay. How can we help their relationship? The oldest would rather be an only child. Oldest will do something and deny and help him. Okay. Here's what you do to promote harmony with siblings. There's no guarantees with any of this. But here's the thing is a lot of people think that they have kids who don't get along. So what the parents do is they'll spend one-on-one quality time with each child individually. You do not do that. If they're not getting along, you do not. That's the last thing you should do. You build resentment and hate with siblings when you do that. Okay, what you do is you want to do everything together with them, and you always play to the weakest link. So whatever you're doing, you do whatever the 10-year-old would be just as good at. Also, do not do anything competitive. Just do silly stuff. Say, hey, let's go do this today. Let's go, go to whatever. I don't know what you do with your kids or where you live or what the weather's like. But yeah, let's just go on the sled and go down the hill, in the snow, or do whatever. Do it all together. And then also make sure it's in their world and you look silly. My kids were 5 years apart, a boy and a girl. How much did they have in common? They got along great because they always laughed at me. I made sure that mom was the butt of all their jokes. Like we'd all be doing something and I was always the worst at it. So they'd have a riot bonding over laughing at mom. So yeah, do everything together. Don't do one-on-one time. When they're getting along fine, you can do one-on-one time, but not if they're not. You don't do that. It builds resentment. Full-time working mom, how do you stay consistent when nanny, grandparents involved, 5-year-old twins? That is very difficult. You can try the behavior board and have everyone do it. That's what you could do. Yeah, so the behavior board, check it out. It's completely free in the link. The behavior board, the mini toddler courses, the big boot camp course, and coaching, it's all on the same link. Anyway, so try the behavior board. It's completely free, and everyone's on it. The mom, the nanny, the grandmother. If they're all caring for the kids, then put everyone on there. So it's consistent, in other words. Any advice for homeschooling parents? None whatsoever. I have no opinion on homeschooling and I know nothing about it. The only thing I've seen consistently a concern is when they hit high school and they go into public school or like more mainstream schooling, they often have problems socializing if they have not been socializing with non-homeschool kids throughout their previous lives. Like what I mean is if they only are in the homeschool community, once they're thrown out into the real world, they often struggle socially. So make sure that you've got them in activities where they're out and about with other kids that are going to public schools, private schools, whatever. Does that make sense? I've seen that quite consistently because they're usually by the teenagers. They're not usually homeschooled in the teen years. So it's it's a lovely environment, the homeschool community, but it can be very incestuous too. So just keep an eye out for that. Okay, it's a long question here. How would you handle a 4-year-old waking up in the morning before everyone and asking for the phone? And when I say no, she starts fake crying. Okay, how old? Oh, 4-year-old. And whining, no, I'll give in. So she doesn't. Well, you already answered your question. You know that you'll give in. Waking up her baby sisters. Maybe she should go to bed later, or does she have a nap? Like, why is she waking up so early in the morning? 4-year-old waking up. I don't know what time she's waking up. I would work with her bedtime. I would potentially try that. And make sure you don't give in. You're going to have to go with her waking up her siblings, her baby sisters. When I don't give in, she gets more loud. You're going to have to put up with that for a little while. But she's 4 years old. I would look into her bedtime right now, see if that would help, or do her other ones just sleep in really late? I don't know. So yeah, I don't quite know all the ins and outs of that. Oh, okay. Any advice for 3-year-old screaming no at me after any request I make, regardless if it's bath time or please sit down and eat your dinner? Why are you saying please sit down and eat your dinner? That's a request that she's quite easily can say no to. It's a question. Can you please sit down? It sounds like you're begging. Say dinner time. And anyway, check out my behavior board. You can put down follow bedtime routine. I actually have was it bedtime too? No, it was bath time. Yeah, anyway, check out how old is she? 3? If you're having problems with bedtime, I do have a bedtime battles course. I do have a mealtime battles one coming up. It's not ready yet. Anyway, but yeah, I would just put them on the behavior board and say, follow mealtime routine, follow bedtime routine, and then make it happen. If they don't follow it, that's fine. They don't have to. But if they don't, there's a consequence, okay? We all learn through consequences. We learn that I told my kids, if your good life is good, if your bad life ain't so good, I'll make sure of that because I'm your mom and that's my job. So in other words, you get back what you put out. So if they're behaving really beautifully, my kids were never disciplined because they didn't need it, right? So they just understood that life was up to them. I always said, it's your choice how you act. So that you want to teach them that using the behavior board. It's about you discipline them now so that they'll be self-disciplined later on. I did a video. I got a lot of flack for that one. It was quite interesting. It made sense what people were saying, actually, because I said, my kids never asked me anything if they knew the answer was no. So in other words, it sounded like I was saying no all the time and they had no say in their lives. No, it's just that they would never have asked me for cigarettes or something. You know what I mean? It was the obvious stuff. because they knew that, they knew exactly, I was predictable. They knew exactly what I was going to say no to. And it was something ridiculous is what I was meaning. But they made it, everyone, a lot of people interpreted that I was saying no all the time. My kids had no say. Believe me, they had a say in how things went. So, but they were self-disciplining. So you discipline them when they're young, and then they'll be self-disciplining right through the teen years. Yeah, you're asking. It sounds like you're asking. And bath time is part of bedtime routine, by the way. Check out that course. It's Bedtime Battles, and there's 2 parts: how to get them in bed, which is bedtime routine, and then how to keep them there. That's the hard part. That goes on for a lot longer. Yeah. And also, when a child says no to you like that, I could go on for hours about this one. But when they say no to everything, it's because sometimes it works. Like my kids just never said no to me because they knew if I said, okay, we're going now, if they said no, we would have gone anyway. Like I only say something once, and if they say no or don't do it, I take action. So if they'd said to me at 3 years old, if I said, we're going now, okay, let's go, and they said no, they knew I'd go over, pick them up, or drag them down, whatever. I would have got them in the car anyway. So I said something once, and then I took action. I followed it up. So they learned that when I said something, it was going to happen. But I gave them notice. I'd say, hey, we'll be leaving in about 20 minutes. We're going up. Make sure you got your shoes. So they just did. There was no, because they knew there was no point arguing with me. Yeah. They just didn't. They had a good life. They liked it. So why would they argue when life was good? Not to say your kids don't have a good life, but if you're giving in, they don't have a leader. If you're giving in to their demands, they need a leader. They need, crave, and want leadership. So you're not meeting their needs. All children need leadership. They need, crave, and want it. If you're not a leader for your children, you're going to send them out into the world very vulnerable and susceptible to peer pressure, bullying, the drug dealer on the corner, the internet, the Kardashians. They're very vulnerable because they don't have a leader at home. Does that make sense? So yeah. Anyway, I'm going to get going. I've been on here for 20 minutes. I'm going to move over to Instagram now. So if you want to follow me over there, welcome. And if not, just check out the link and you can check out my free behavior board, my mini toddler courses, my big boot camp course, or hire me for coaching. Anyway, thanks so much for joining me. I'm moving over to Instagram now. Sorry, YouTube, just getting this going. It's done. Post, get rid of that. And done. Okay, I'm just going to look on YouTube here. Good afternoon. 12-and-a-half-year-old time at dad's, strict, all authoritative. How do I deal with her being mean to her younger siblings? Name calling them with a 12-year-old half-time at dad's. How do I deal with being mean to her younger siblings? Name calling. Okay. I would use the behavior board. Check that out. And you put down no name calling or no being mean to sisters. And then you can put in, sorry, the camera's up there. You say no being mean to your sisters or siblings, whatever. And then say, I will decide what that is and explain it to her. That means name calling her, whatever. And then every time she has to do something nice. They get to play with their favorite toy or get something of hers that she loves. They get to use that for an hour or whatever. That usually hurts. They don't like that. So if they're mean to someone, they have to share their favorite, whatever it is, with them. So anyway, try that, see how it goes. Got to get organized with this stuff. What should we do when my 5-year-old doesn't accept a no? Make it happen anyway. Like follow through. I don't quite know how to answer that. Check out the behavior board or the boot camp course. It'll teach you the leadership stuff, how you set down rules and consequences. I'm on YouTube right now. That's why I'm looking at this. Okay, Jesse, I'm going to buy your boot camp course. Just stumbled upon your videos about a week ago. And I can already notice a difference with the younger kids. Excellent. I love hearing that. So people, they've only been following me for a week and they're already seeing a positive difference in the kids. All I teach is leadership. You lead, they will follow. It's just natural. The boot camp course is 3 to 12 years old. And that's when you're at the height of your leadership. They are going to want to please you. When you're a good leader, they naturally want to please you because that's where their self-esteem is sort of rooted. It's in you, your leadership. Their view of themselves, all their behaviors are a direct result of your parenting. Their view of themselves is attached to you. Teenagers, it's different. You don't want that anyway. You want them to want to please themselves. You're still the leader when it's necessary, but the rest of the time you want them to be their own leaders. So things really shift and change in the teen years. I haven't got a course on teenagers yet. I'll figure it out. Okay, so this is Instagram questions. I'm just answering the most recent ones. I'm getting better at this now because so many come up and it doesn't scroll. And then those people might have gone. So I'm only answering the latest ones that I get. For how long should I play with my 3-year-old? What if I don't like to be on the floor playing for a long time? Any advice? Okay. Yeah, just say every single night on the behavior board, use the behavior board. Say, your rule is you have to play kid-led, so anything they want, you're at their mercy for 10 minutes a day. See how it goes. You might start enjoying yourself and want to stay there longer. I was working with this mom, I don't know, a year or two ago, and she was so cute. But she said, and I said, you have to play with your kids, because she was never playing with her, I don't know, boy or girl. I think it was a little boy. Anyway, she was never playing with him. She goes, well, I don't like kid stuff. And I said, I understand that, but you love your child, so this is how you connect with him. And I said, so play in his world. And anyway, so she said, well, I really don't want to do that. And I said, what does he love? And she goes, he loves Lego. So I said, okay, your rule is every night after dinner, you have to play Lego. No, I know, she was a yeller. So if she yelled, her consequence was 30 minutes of Lego playing with him. And she said, I don't want to do that. And I said, well, that is it. You have to do it. So anyway, this was so cute. So the next week we have another session in coaching. We have another session, and she's got this big smile on her face. She goes, I didn't play for 30 minutes. I yelled and I didn't play for 30 minutes. And I went, what? And she goes, I played for 3.5 hours. She'd never really got along with her son. Like, they never really connected before. When she got down on the ground and started playing Lego with him, he crawled in her lap, and it was just this beautiful 3.5 hours of bonding with her son. Isn't that adorable? Oh, we were both crying when she told me that. But anyway, yeah. Just find something that they love. It's not that you love playing Lego. It's that you love what it brings out in your relationship with your child. I did a lot of stuff I would never do. Like, I would never roll down the hill at the park by myself. But with my kids, I would do anything, because I love the relationship that we had. I love the bond that brought to our relationship. Does that make sense? So do it for your relationship. Do it for your child. What if the tantrum happens at school, at church? Same thing as anywhere else, but I wouldn't, it's like in a restaurant. I wouldn't subject other people to that. I would just take them outside and let them have the tantrum in the parking lot or in the car. Okay, so you're the same parent everywhere you go. Well, the only place that it's difficult to do it, and I always say, I didn't have a clue how to do this. If it's on an airplane, I don't have a clue. Do whatever you got to do. Bribe them with anything. Don't put other passengers through that. Give them whatever they want on an airplane. It's the only time you shouldn't be consistent, because you don't want to bring the whole plane down, you know? You don't want someone opening up that emergency door and shoving you and your toddler out the door. You know what I mean? Like, you don't put other people through that if you can't get away from it. That's the only time. But yeah, just take them somewhere else and let them tantrum it out somewhere else. Oh, this is interesting. I don't know. My 3.5-year-old has meltdowns every day after school. He cries and/or gets very mad and doesn't want to go to the car. What's happening? Does he love school? Is it just transitioning from somewhere he loves to getting in the car with boring old mom? Like, is that it? Is that what it is, maybe? I don't know. What's he like once you get home? I honestly don't know, because it could be a million different things. All I'm thinking is that my gut reaction instantly, without knowing more, is it's the transition. He loves school and he's transitioning away from it. Yeah, he just has to get in the car with you and go grocery shopping. How much fun is that compared to school? See what I mean? Like, maybe that's it. Maybe that's it. I don't know. My 7 and 9-year-olds still have tantrums. Is this normal? No, it's not. Oh, it's normal, but they shouldn't be. Tantrums should stop at about 3.5 to 4 years old, because you've ignored them and they don't work. Children past the age of especially 4, they only do what works. Generally, it's a general statement. They only do what works. So if tantrums are still working, they're going to keep having them. So you must give in. They must work. There has to be a payoff. Children are not stupid like we are. I keep doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. Kids don't do that. If something doesn't work, they move on to something else. They stop. They should stop having tantrums by now. Or they might not be working, but you might not be meeting their needs. I don't know. It's one of the two. If they're still having tantrums, they're screaming because you're not meeting their needs. So I don't know which one it is. You're either giving in or you're not meeting their needs. Yeah. Stop 2-year-old from spitting. Not much you can do about that. Kind of ignore it, or else, if they're spitting. Yeah, 2-year-old though, geez. Just say no and then take a toy away. Remove them from the fun, but it's just going to be a stage. It's ugly. 2-year-olds are crazy. I'm just going to read my top 5 tips for parenting teenagers, toddlers. Number 1 is child-proof your home so you never have to say no. Number 2 is set up a toy rotation system so they're never bored. 3 is enter their world to connect with them. Don't connect with a 3-year-old at the nail salon or the cafe. You go to the park and you roll down the hill with them. Number 4 is how you discipline a toddler is also in their world. They're not about words. These mini therapy sessions discussing all their big feelings and big emotions, it's garbage. That was invented to feed the mom's needs. Has nothing to do with the toddler. They're all about actions. So they consistent corrective actions right in the moment, right then and there. They live for the moment. And number 5 is stop trying to figure them out. Toddlers are not figure outable. They're going to go through crazy stage after crazy stage after crazy stage. It's just the way it is. If you can make sense out of a toddler, can you let me know? I never have. I have an 11-year-old. She has a phone, so I take it when she is sassy, which is a lot, or breaks a rule or doesn't do what she's asked. Yeah, that's not going to work. Oh, and then you said taking the phone doesn't, yeah, it doesn't work. Check out my boot camp course. That might be perfect for you. It goes up to 12 years old, and it might be really good for you because, yeah, you're parenting out of frustration and fear. And she's picking up on that. It's just not going to work. Check out the boot camp course. At the minimum, check out my behavior board. That's completely free. The boot camp course isn't free. It starts with the behavior board. The first 3 weeks are behavior boards. I start you slow and easy, okay, and wait until then you're getting better at it. You can elongate that course. It's 5 weeks long. You can elongate it, but never shorten it. It's paced out. I've been doing this for decades now, so I know how to pace you out, and it's paced out. You can go a little bit longer, but not shorter. So, but anyway, check out the behavior board. Just check it out. It might help you. That's completely free. If you want to go to the next level, that's the boot camp course. The next level is coaching with me. A tantrum initiated by mom leaving and left alone with dad. Very upset, crying, banging on the floor. Do I ignore, interact? Oh, just completely ignore. The only time that you interfere in a tantrum, and even then you're still ignoring them, but you prevent them from hurting themselves, hurting someone else, or damaging property. You don't intervene with older big kids. You allow them to damage properly, just not themselves or someone else. But with little ones, yeah, you intervene. You just hold them. Don't look at them or talk to them, though. Just say, they know, just pull them away, and then you just hold them. Then you let them go. If they go for the door, bang again, pull them back. You don't look at them or talk to them, though. You're just like that. Very calm. Not much you can do. They're just nuts when they're little, right? How to deal with 4-year-olds' fear of darkness. I was terrified of the dark. I still look under my bed before I go into bed every night. I'm 63 years old. And I just started doing that because I heard about this horror story that a college student woke up in the morning and found a man sleeping under her bed. He'd been there all night. I just heard that recently. I scared the bejeebies out of me. So anyway, how silly. I was afraid of the dark when I was a kid. My mom used to say, sweetie, there's nothing in the dark that isn't there in the light. And I said, oh, yes, there is. And one of my kids, I can't remember which one it was, but they were also afraid of the dark, just temporarily, not as long as I was. I still am. Anyway, so what I do with them is I'd say, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a sweep of the whole room. And I'd say, okay, no, there's no one in here. I'm looking around. Nope, no one in there. And once mom's gone through it, they know not to come in here. And then I'd look underneath the bed. So I'd sort of say, they're afraid of mom. Any boogeymen are afraid of your mom. Once they know I've looked everywhere, they're not going to come in here. I would open up every drawer, look in everything. Nope, no one's in here. And now I'm going to close the door and it seals it up against all baddies. So anyway, sort of made a bit of a game. Okay, I know I'm not a parent, but can you say happy birthday to my Nick her? Is that rude? Did I say something rude? Sometimes I get pulled into rude stuff because I'm old and I don't know what I'm saying. Friend that's in hospital. I'll just say happy birthday. I hope that wasn't something rude. I said something horrible once, and because they'd spelled it out to look like a name, but it was a really rude saying because they know I'm old. I don't get it. But yeah, and then people said, stop, Lisa, stop. It's funny because that happened on YouTube too. That was on YouTube. Anyway, it's funny. And it was a racist comment. It was horrible. You can imagine what it was. It was horrible. Anyway, and I realized after I'd said it, I thought, oh, I just got duped, didn't I? Yeah. Anyway, 4-year-old throws tantrums and always hungry, but doesn't eat when I prepare something. Well, they're kind of two different topics. Always hungry, but doesn't. Okay, let's deal with the hunger one. The tantrums, I just discussed tantrums. So we'll deal with, and although I have a course on tantrum busting if you're interested. That's one of my mini courses. Okay, doesn't always hungry, but doesn't eat when I prepare them. I know what I was going to talk about. Was I on here? Was this Instagram? And I was talking about food and I couldn't remember what I was going to say. Oh shoot, it just lost me again. Oh my gosh, how can I do that? Oh, I know. Gosh, how stupid. Anyway, because I talk about the same thing so many times. Just say it, Lisa, now. Anyway, I didn't have any junk food in the house. None. All I had was ingredients because I made everything from scratch. So my kids knew if they didn't eat their broccoli, there's no ice cream in the freezer. Like I had no junk food in the house. So my kids didn't get bought cookies or anything. They got my dry little, cardboardy cookies because I made everything from scratch and it was all super healthy. I could hide healthy stuff in anything. So yeah, I had no junk food in the house. So my kids learned to eat healthy because that's the only options they had. When they went out to parties, birthday parties, have at it, eat whatever you want. They always came home with stomach aches because their systems weren't used to all that garbage, right? All that sugar and preservatives. When your body's not used to it, it reacts. So, but yeah, anyway, so that was what I was trying to remember to say. I can actually cross that out. Okay, so yeah, and that's a very radical way to do it, but my kids, I just did not have unhealthy stuff in the house. Wasn't an option. It's radical, but yeah, that's why they ate so healthy because they knew that was the only choice they had. What do you think about swearing in front of a toddler? I never did it. My swear word was always sugar. And if I was really mad, I'd say flugen. That was my made up swear word. But yeah, I never swore in front of kids ever. The other day I was in the elevator and I dropped something and I went, oh, sugar. And there was other adults in there and they're like, oh, aren't we Mary Poppins? How embarrassing. Oh, sugar. That's just because I've worked with kids for so many years and I can let it fly. I can swear now. Yeah, I'm pretty proud of it. It's usually when my daughter and I are talking, I'm terrible. She doesn't swear much, but I sure do. I don't know why. It just makes me feel cool. She's 29. Okay. And she said, boy, 20 years ago, in a million years, I couldn't imagine you swearing. And I'm letting the F-bombs go and everything. Terrible. Makes me feel cool. Okay. 3-year-old wakes up throwing tantrums and crying. How do I deal with that? Well, they're just a bad waker-upper. My son was like that. It was hit or miss with him. You never knew what you were going to get, Jekyll or Hyde. So yeah, sometimes they just do. I kind of let him sit with me and I'd read a book to him usually until he calmed down. But yeah, he was like that. But 50-50. Times it. Actually, I'm going to move over to TikTok now. I've been talking all day. I'm putting videos on all my courses. Everything on all my courses is going to have a video now. And I'm just working on it now. And I've been doing that for hours. And then I had coaching clients and now I'm talking here. So I can feel my voice starting to give out. So I'm going to move over to TikTok now. If you want to join me there, you're welcome. It's Bratbusters Parenting. And if you go on the link, you can download my free behavior board, buy one of my mini toddler courses, or buy my big boot camp course, 3 to 12 years old, that teaches you how to get respect in 5 weeks, or you can hire me for coaching. That's all done on Zoom, so it doesn't matter where you live. Anyway, thanks so much for joining me. I'm moving over to TikTok. I'm always on YouTube when I'm doing a live. That's where all my lives are saved. Okay, bye now. Take care. I'm talking to YouTube. I just hit 600,000 on TikTok just about an hour ago. Mind-boggling, eh? That's a lot of people. But Instagram, which is where I just was, I'm talking to TikTok, YouTube, I mean. Instagram's my busiest live because I've only been on there for about 3 months and I've only got maybe 188,000 on there. But they're new, so they ask more questions. People on TikTok have seen me for 1.5 years now. Okay, I'm just talking to YouTube. Welcome. Just waiting for everyone to turn up. Okay, good question, Manya on YouTube. Hi, Lisa. Why should you avoid making eye contact with a toddler during a tantrum when disciplining them? Well, you're not disciplining a tantrum. You're just ignoring it. You ignore the crazy and reward the calm. That's why. When they're in that crazy zone, if you give that any attention, it's like fertilizing a plant. It's feeding it. It just is. I don't want to be a part of it. I don't want to be associated with that tantrum. If they want my attention, they have to calm down. But I'm right there. I never leave the room. And I also wouldn't talk on the phone and I wouldn't get into a conversation with someone. I think that's rude. You want to look like you're waiting for a bus. They learn, oh, you're just waiting for me to stop. And then they'll stop. And then I go, oh, y'all done? Okay, let's read a book or let's go to the park. I ignore the crazy and reward the calm. So eye contact is reward. It is attention. You don't give a tantrum. You don't give it any attention at all. None. I don't discuss tantrums before, during, or after. I just don't. Yeah. Oh, you all done? Okay, let's go to the park. Okay, let's go there. They learn. They learn. They're not listening to you, they're watching you. If you were to look at them, they're like, oh, I'm winning. That's what they do. Okay. Thank you, Lisa. Great advice. Oh, you're on both places. Okay. By the way, I just hit, about an hour ago, I hit 600,000 followers on TikTok. Thanks so much for supporting me. I know I am different. I know I caught a lot of flack when I first came on TikTok, a lot of hate. And, because I say things like ignoring tantrums. And anyone who's been following me for a while, they know that I love that stuff. Anyone who comes after me, I'm like, bring it on. It means I'm shaking things up. And that's what I'm trying to do. The please your parent style, which is so trendy right now, it's about rolling out the red carpet for your children, giving in to all their demands. Heaven forbid you should say no to your child. And you're trying to make everything easy for them. It's a total disaster. You're raising self-entitled snowflakes with mental health issues. They're all victims. They're all victims out there when they're adults. It's ridiculous. You didn't validate my feelings. I'm just a bus driver, lady. Like, they're very demanding victims, and it's just not a good way to parent. So that's what I'm up against. Okay. Yeah, and I started on TikTok on social media, really. So I've been on here now for not 2 years quite yet. Maybe I think in February or March it'll be 2 years. So yeah, I'm really I love TikTok. That's where I started. Yeah. It blew my mind because my daughter kept saying, but for about a whole year, Mom, get on TikTok, get on TikTok. You'll love it. Because I hate planning anything, and I just want to be able to say what I'm thinking. I hate planning anything. And she goes, just go on there. It's all casual. And I said, no one's going to listen to an old lady talking about parenting. And then they did. So no one was more surprised than me. Maybe her. Okay. No, it was me. Okay, so parenting questions. My toddler's throwing tantrums when I try to dress her, and I have to get us out the door. Help. Okay, if you've got a toddler, you can physically overpower them. I don't care if you got a sock on a hand and a hat on a foot. Just get some clothes on them and get out the door. You can fix it up when they're in the car or later on. So just say, oh, we're going to be going out now. So, and then if they start having a tantrum, dress them while they're tantruming. I did that. They eventually learn. They learn if there's no, they don't learn right away, by the way. It's going to take some time because toddlers are just nuts. They're going to go through stuff, right? They can't control their emotions and their fits and all that, but they'll eventually learn. Wait a minute, I'm going to be going out the door anyway. I may as well not fight. So, but that takes some time. It's not going to happen right away. Mine are 14 and 16, and they still steal from each other. They steal from each other. Geez, I would have some rules in place for that. I'd use the behavior board and say no stealing, and when you're caught stealing, yeah, there'd be a consequence. They have to, maybe if they steal something, the other one gets to pick something of theirs that they like and gets to have it. I don't know. I'd have to figure that out. But yeah, I definitely have that on the behavior board. Yeah, with teenagers, the behavior board is called an accountability chart because it's about being accountable. You're on there too, by the way. So yeah, but yeah, I'd have that on the board for sure. Yeah. Any advice for kids whose parents are going through a divorce? Any advice for the kids? No, but I got advice for the parents. I can't advise the kids. I can advise the parents. We did that. We separated, and when the kids were 9 and 14, and we just were always. We still went everywhere together when it came to the kids, and we always got along, and the kids never saw us fight. They don't care that you're together. They just care that you get along. We love them more than we didn't hate each other, I don't think, but you love your kids more than you hate each other. Put the kids first. That's all they care about. They don't care if you love each other. They just care that you get along. They could care less if you love each other. They really don't. They just want you to get along. And we do. We still, it's 20 years later. We still, no problem getting along. None. Are we friends? No. But do we get along? Yeah. We're stuck in this together for the rest of our lives. We're stuck together because we got kids and we got a grandchild who's overdue now, by the way. Really nervy. She was due a few days ago. So yeah, we're still waiting for her. Got everything packed up, ready to go to the hospital. See, she might be a handful. She's already not following rules here. She's supposed to be here by now. Okay. I love your teachings, even if I don't have children. I hear that a lot. A lot of people follow me because I do throw in some just general advice. I'm going to throw in some general advice for life. If you're trying to deal with a difficult person, I've got one of the best. I invented this myself. It just works a charm. If you're around someone who's always coming at you like this, why would you do that? Why don't you do this? In other words, why aren't you more like me? That's what they're saying. They're very insecure people who are like that. The more difficult a person is, usually it's insecurity based. Anyway, this is what I say. If they come at me with something like this, why wouldn't you do that? I'd say, crazy Lisa. You use your own name, obviously, but crazy Lisa, and it throws them right off. What can they say to that? What can they say to that? Why don't you do that? Why don't crazy Lisa? It's a bit of a, yeah, and they get that, but what can they say to it? You haven't insulted them at all. You haven't defended yourself. You've given them nothing to work off of. It's a good one. I don't like to use it very often, but the odd time I'll come up against someone who's rude, and that's what I'll say. Oh, crazy Lisa. Crazy me. What can they say to that? And that's why the reason that comes up a lot when I'm coaching is because people have to deal with other people insulting their parenting. I hear that a lot. It's a really common complaint. And I just say, crazy me. Yeah. Bad parenting. Oh, well. See how it shuts them down? Throws them right off. I went 42 weeks pregnant and had to be induced. Yeah, Angelica. Yeah, this my son's girlfriend. She was due in a few days ago, and her mom had 3 kids all 2 weeks late. So yeah, could be in the new year. Whatever. Flying tomorrow with 22-month-old lap kid. Tips? Nope, none whatsoever. Just do whatever you got to do to survive, and don't put the other passengers. Don't ignore tantrums. Give them whatever they want, because you don't want to put a plane that they might open up an emergency door and kick you out if you let your kid have tantrums and all that. So yeah, all the rules go out the window. Do whatever you got to do to just keep them quiet on that plane. Sorry, I did that with my kids. So yeah, because you're all shoved into a sardine can together. You can't put other people through all that stuff, right? Give in to whatever they want. What's funny is even when they're really little, if you've given in to whatever they want on an airplane, they often just and you don't when you're home or anywhere else, it doesn't always make them worse because they just sort of associate that with the plane. That's what some parents have told me. They said, "Oh, we thought we'd regress and go back," and they said as soon as we got off the plane, they didn't think we were going to give in anymore. It's interesting, eh? My daughter is almost 3, and she keeps throwing things at me. And when I try to correct it, she laughs. Yeah. Um, well, she's almost 3. Okay. Is she almost 3? Like maybe a week away? Check out the behavior board or check out the boot camp course. They both start at the age of 3. That's when your leadership really starts to kick in. So yeah, if she wants to throw it, they can do whatever they want, but it's how you deal with it, right? Like I don't care what kids do because I've worked with really challenging kids. No one ever said to me, here's an easy one, Lisa. They always went, good luck with this one. So I learned all this with difficult kids who were really challenging. And so, yeah, but I had systems in place. They knew what I expected of them, and they knew what was going to happen if they broke the rules. So, yeah, just have a system. That behavior board's a system. The boot camp course teaches you how to do it. But the behavior board's completely free. Check out the boot camp course, though. And I'm in the process right now. That's when my voice is going. I'm adding videos to all my courses. Every single section is going to have a video now, if you're interested. So if you bought a course in the past, keep watching over the next few weeks. Every single course should have videos, every single section. Turns out I like doing it because I love talking to you guys. So yeah, I've been meaning to do that for a while now, so I'm getting around to it. 8-year-old having a medical complex younger sibling for 8 months. How can I help her adjust? Get a doll that has the same problems. Yeah, and they can work on the doll. Or like, a teddy bear or whatever. But yeah, it's easier to explain that way sometimes. And yeah, it's just one. I got a lot of different ideas, but that's just one that seems to have worked in the past with some clients. You've asked me this before, or someone has, or it's must Must be common then, because I've heard this a few times. My 18-month-old is starting to hit. No, that's not the right one. Sorry, I might have missed it. Did you answer the question about toddler 3 growling, grunting when frustrated? Thoughts, please. This comes up quite often. Someone just asked me this yesterday, I think. Anyway, yeah, I just ignore it. It's in the attitude department. You never address attitude. Yeah, I just ignore it. Wouldn't give it any attention at all. But when they stop doing that and they say something normally, then I would look at them and say something. So you reward that what you like and you ignore what you don't, right? Any attention is reward. Yeah, you don't give them a candy. Oh, you talk nicely. Here's a candy. But any attention is considered a reward. Okay. My little boy is 3 and he screeches to get his own way or my attention. How do I stop this? If it's that loud and it really is screeching, it's not in the attitude department then because he's just screeching to get what he wants. I would put no screeching on the behavior board. I normally don't do that, but if he just has the specific screech that he only uses to get his own way, I would put no screeching on the behavior board. So check that out, and it's completely free. It's in the link above. All my behavior board, my mini toddler courses, my big boot camp course, and my coaching. It's all the same link, and check that out. Anyway, I just want to say thanks so much for following me. I got 600,000 subscribers or whatever you call it today. Just happened about an hour ago, so I'm really grateful for that. I'm bowled over, to be honest. Just can't believe that. I can't even fathom that many people. Anyway, thanks so much. I really do appreciate that. I don't know what you mean. I'm trying to read how to talk to a 14-year-old about crowd he engaged with but doesn't go anywhere with them. Play on game. Doesn't go anywhere, but he's playing on a game. So you mean he's gaming, online gaming with these people? Is that such a bad thing? He's 14. Do you watch him? Do you know what he's doing? Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to figure that out. If you want me to figure that out with you, you'd have to hire me and I'd have to assess that if it's something that's really concerning you. Check out the coaching in the link. Oh, from Ireland. Oh, Shannon, Shannon, you've been here before, haven't you? Because he said, I love listening to what you have to say. Tune in a couple nights a week. Oh, that's so sweet. Thanks very much for your support. I was going to read something out. I just talked about this on Instagram. Just my latest thing. I came up with it the other day, and I thought, why didn't I think of that before? A lot of parents want to increase their children's self-esteem, right? And a lot of ways that they try and do it is they praise their children. You're so special. You're so wonderful. That kind of does nothing. It does pretty much nothing. It's praise versus pride. So you want to give your children, their self-esteem increases when they know they're good people and they're proud of themselves. If you're just saying you're wonderful, you're special, they don't care about that. There's 2 ways of making kids feel good about themselves. Give them something to be proud of. So they're great, they're well behaved, they're nice, they're kind. And everyone's telling them that all the time. Hey, God, you're such a great kid. And I used to say to my kids, I'm so lucky you're such great kids. But I didn't go on and on about it because that was sort of my baseline. I just expected them to be nice. But being proud is what gives them high self-esteem, not being praised. Because often you're praising kids who they know they're acting out. They know they're being rude to you. But the other way you can do it, especially with younger children, is their love language is fun. They don't want to be told they're wonderful, they're special. They want you to play with them. It makes them feel wonderful and special. Their love language is fun. So it should be praise versus pride/fun. Depends on the age. But yeah, don't overpraise. It's just not doing anything. It's kind of empty words. They pick up on this. I don't know why he has such low self-esteem. I'm always telling him he's wonderful, even though he kicks me and doesn't make his bed or doesn't do his chores. Where's his pride? And do you ever play with them? Do you ever interact with them? So yeah, praise is overrated. It's not horrible, but it's not the way that they get pride and self-esteem. And, yeah, it doesn't do much for them. No idea what you're talking about. Okay. What age should you start disciplining? My 12-month-old slaps and pulls my hair. Okay, I'll just read this out first and then I'll explain. My 4 stages of parenting, and this is just my own, what I've come up with over the years. You'll go through, this isn't about the kids, this is about you. You'll go through 4 very distinct stages in your parenting. The first one is the baby, 0 to 15 months. That is all cuddling, and you start to say no, and a really gentle correction. They're not about words, just say no, just to let them know that you're going to be taking something away. So if they hit with something, you say no. If they grab your hair, you say no, and you take their hand off, and then you don't let them have access to your hair again, like for a while. Anyway, that's the baby stage, 0 to 15 months. You're starting to sort of correct them, but if they're having a fit and a tantrum, you want to use diversion too with a baby. I always say diversion is really bad because you never divert with broccoli. You always do. But here's a candy. It's not quite what I mean. It's more indirect diversion. If you've got a baby who's having a fit because you just took something away that they're not supposed to have, I would get their favorite book and sit on the floor and go, ooh, the fox jumped over. Ooh, next thing you know, they're climbing in your lap and, they're okay again. So that's the baby stage. The next stage you're going to go through as a parent is the toddler stage. That's 16 to 35 months. That's my least favorite stage. I love them at home, but I hated taking my toddlers out somewhere that was dangerous. You just can't relax ever. So that's when you're really starting to use discipline. It's consistent corrective actions, and you're playing with them a lot in their world, okay? You're really connecting with them. And yeah, consistent corrective actions is their language. They're not about words, they're about actions. Then you go into the next stage. This is when you're at the height of your leadership skills, when they want to please you. They're 3 to 12. That's the child stage. I know they're very different, but you're not as a parent. You're very much the leader in those years. Then you go into the fourth and final stage. It's the teen phase, 13 plus. That's when you want them to be their own leaders. You're still there, you're the backup leader, but you're still there. They don't want to disappoint you, but you don't want teenagers to live to try and please you. But when they're 3 to 12, yeah, pretty much, because you're their leader, you're their mentor. They run everything past you. So those are the 4 very distinct stages in parenting. And they're very distinct stages. I know the 3 to 12 is such a varied age, but really your style is very similar with those ages. Oh, I was trying to scroll with my mouse. I have to do it like this. Ah. Okay, I think I'm going to have to go. My voice is going. I can just feel it. I've been doing videos all day and coaching. So I'm going to have to get going. I can barely talk right now. I can just feel my voice going. Anyway, sorry about that. Thanks so much for joining me. TikTok is where I really started on social media, like really going hard. And I just want to say thank you. I've hit 600,000 followers today. I'm now on Instagram. Also, in the last 3 months, I've got 188,000 followers on Instagram. Can you believe that? An old lady talking about kids. Who would have thunk, eh? It's just amazing. I'm just bowled over by it. Anyway, thanks so much for your support. I'm here to serve you. That's my main thing. But I also just want to say thank you so much. I really love what I do, and I'm very grateful that you turn up and support me. I'm very, very, very grateful for that. So thanks so much, and we'll talk again soon. Bye now.